everyone, welcome to my channel if you're new and welcome back if you're returning. So it has been long enough. We are finally here. We at episode 1, Power Book 2, season 1. This one is called The Stranger. So I'm gonna say, I was like, okay, we're finally back. I thought we were gonna see Ghost, but I guess they have to build up to that since it's called Ghost. I thought this would be all the backstory of Ghost, but in the beginning they just did a recap of all the little situations and how everything unfolded. We even got to see Raina. So what I noticed is 50 Cent kept the song, but he changed all of like the graphics, all the video behind the intro. I was like, yeah, because last time they dragged his ass, so he learned. And now this time, they got Mary J on one side, Tasha on the other side. The side with Tasha is the book side of New York. You know, him going to school and all that. The side with Mary J is just a bunch of money. So I'm like, is that what this is? Now all of a sudden Tasha doesn't want her son to be a drug dealer anymore. Now she wants her son to do right, but to get the bigger bag. But then he gets tangled up with Mary J and her daughter, and they kind of got their little thing going. We'll get to that. But anyway, in the intro, I saw Effie. I forgot about her. I was like, oh, yeah. So first, as soon as the scene starts, Simon is texting him. He's like, get your butt down here to the school. Don't be late. I was like, dang, so they picked up like nothing ever happened. Come to find out, all they did was really fast forward like 2 weeks. So 2 weeks earlier, Ghost became a ghost. So Tariq's getting up, and I said, oh, look at little Reek. I'm so proud of him. He done finally grew into that little big old empty head of his. But he went ahead, he goes down to the school. He leaves. Before he gets there, he meets up with his grandma. And before he left the room, I was like, what is he doing with the money? What is this? Here we go. He back up to his antics. But he goes down to the courthouse, and he sees his grandma, and he sees Yaz. And finally, they done gave Yaz 6 words. She got a half of a line to recite. And they got a little black Yaz this time. I was like, okay. So Tamika walks up. Who is Tamika here for? Tamika is Tasha's lawyer. Wait a minute. How did this happen? This don't even sound right. Something ain't right. But here we are. So they go into the courtroom, and I'm like, okay, Tamika's about to knock it out the park. So I'm looking at them inside the courtroom. Tamika's wig is on point. Grandma's wig is on point. Everybody got a nice wig. Tasha ain't got one. But I'm like, is it just me, or is Tasha, did she like shrink? Because Tamika looks huge next to her. Speaking of huge, the marshal that walked her in looked like she like 6'5". I did not know Tasha was that short. But anyway, they're in court. Tasha doesn't get bonded out. She doesn't get bail or bond. And then they wind up giving baby girl 4 more words. I said, oh, she about to get a check this season. So now Tariq done left the courthouse. And when I tell you this boy was running the entire episode, he goes down and to meet Simon Stern and the dean of the new school he's trying to get into. And Stern and all of his racism. The lady was like, hey, Tariq, do you know Ezekiel Cross? Simon Stern's like, oh, of course he does. Well, of course he likes basketball. Of course he knows him. So he just has to know the basketball player because he's black. Anyway, we gonna move on because we know how Stern is. The whole idea of him staying at the school is he has to make sure that Ezekiel Cross passes his classes. So in other words, he's going to take on a double load because he's going to have to do his work and the work for Cross. How is that even like, it's just always something with Simon. He can never just be straightforward. But anyway, he leaves and he runs into this little cute little girl named Lauren. I said, oh, look at her. Lauren's like, yeah, you should join the canonical studies. I was like, canonical studies? What is that? I've never heard of that. Only thing in my mind, I could think of like the laws of Canaan. Is that what this is? I don't know. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know if y'all know what that is. But yeah, I've never heard of it. So she's talking about, yeah, you should join. There's only a few black kids. And, you know, one of them, it's like he was dipped in chocolate. I'm like, meanwhile, she's sitting up here dipped in ambiguity. But I'ma just be quiet. But moving on. So what's funny to me is that they keep sending Tariq to like all these ambiguous people. He keeps running into all these racially ambiguous people to help him with his blackness and I guess acclimate him into the white world. But little do they know, Tariq has been acclimated since birth. So he runs into Professor Milgram. She's got a class, the canonical studies. He wants to get in. He's got to take an entrance exam. She's like, listen, just enjoy your college experience. Tariq is like, listen, I need to get in and get out as soon as possible because I need to be there for my family. He's thinking, in my mind, he needs to get in and get out because that's the access to the money. I'm thinking you need to get in and get out, because if you don't graduate before they lock your behind up for what, killing your father, yeah, your family might perish. So anyway, she's kind of interested in him. She's going to give him the opportunity to take the test to enter into the canonical studies program. So we get out of there. Tasha and Tamika are talking, and Tamika is eating Tasha's story. She's picking it apart because she knows Tasha's lying. Come down to it, Tamika's like, you didn't pull that trigger. Who are you working? Well, she doesn't know us at this point, but she's like, who are you working with? How did you know exactly when to go in there and see about Ghost? And Tasha keeps avoiding it because, of course, she ain't going to give up Tariq. Then Tasha loses her entire mind and she fires Tamika. I'm like, that's the worst thing she could have done. I don't know. She should have held her composure, but, alas, here we are. So since Tasha pulled that boss move, Tamika calls up Tariq like, listen, I'm off the case, but your mother needs a lawyer who doesn't mind getting her off without the truth. And his name is Davis McLean. I'm like, oh, look at Method Man. So Method Man is the lawyer that's going to try to get Tasha off. I'm cool with it. He tells Tariq, listen, I ain't got time for no games, $500K up front. There is no way Tariq got $500K. So he goes and does a little digging. He hooks up with Epiphany Jones. We remember Epiphany looking all ghetto. I love her. So he's like, yo, can you help me out? She's like, I can help you, but you got to get your own product. How he gonna get some products? So we never found out who Effie's connect was in the other in the other episodes, but Brayden happens to be over there at the same school as Tariq. He gives him the number to Effie, so now he got work from Effie. Effie still got a thing for him. He just knows he needs to get his mother off. So he gets the products, he goes and gives them to Epiphany, and now he has to hurry up and get to school so that he can take his entrance exam a day after getting the book he was supposed to read. So he goes into the little meeting. He calls himself going to try to pimp his way through it. But then when they started asking him questions that he couldn't answer, of course, he didn't have enough time to read the full book. So he's like, listen, I didn't read it, but the character seems, I think he has a connection with the character because the character is kind of like him. But he's like, the character committed a crime and he knows he committed it. It's kind of a boring book and we were supposed to be bored reading it. So the three people that were in there, the professors and the head, were like, listen, he ain't about to get into this. We're not going to let him into the program. And the guy Jabari, he goes to bat for Tariq like, wait a minute, let's just give him another shot. I think there's something about this kid. And then he's gonna find out that there really is. Now, somehow this character Stephen Ott keeps finding himself in the U.S. Attorney's office. Sax and John are there, and what they're trying to do is pin everything on Tasha to make her the kingpin statue. So they're gonna make her responsible for everything that they wanted to nail James with. And Sax is like, no, we can't do that, because he knows that Tasha didn't do any of that stuff. But now Stephen Ott is mad because he's like, listen, y'all not going to embarrass the Democratic Party with all of James's indiscretions. So anyway, Steve Ott leaves out as well as John, and they're mad at Sax because he won't cooperate. But we know Sax can't cooperate because Tariq saw Sax there the night his father was murdered. So how do you explain that? So anyway, Tariq goes back to his new dorm. And he meets his dorm mate. And dude is up there doing what I bet he's going to be doing throughout the whole season. Just enjoying his life, not focusing on anything dealing with school. Okay, we move forward. Sax goes to a dinner. And he walks in, and I was like, whose house is this? That's a nice house. This is his parents' house. Who is that white woman? Do y'all remember where her face is? Something about her that stands out, but I can't remember who she is. Anyway, Sax is like the brother that's always been the screw up. He goes to dinner, so it's for him becoming the U.S. attorney, but in reality, his brother doesn't even believe he's going to keep this job, so he's clowning him the whole time. So Zeke decides to take Tariq to his family's get together. They had a little party for him getting into Stansfield, and he meets a little cute little girl outside named Diana. Come to find out, Diana's older brother is in the bathroom getting topped off by the cousin's girl. They get to hooping and hollering. Then Mary J comes outside. That's the aunt. Her name is Monet. She tells her son, y'all handle this, and then tells the nephew to leave. And then she tells her son, you know what to do. I'm like, who is Mary J? See, this is the problem. She's one of them toxic mothers, and she's the reason why all these little emotional boys out here can't handle conflict, and then they resort to stupid stuff. But anyway, we'll get there. So moving forward, Now, Sax rolls over to Tamika's house and hits her with the hypothetical. Tamika's like, listen, what did you do, Sax, and what did you get me involved in? He can't really tell her all the details, so she pretty much put him out. When Sax was at his parents' house and his brother said, you probably already did exactly what's going to get you taken down and, embarrass the family, he was 100% right. That's why Sax went to Tamika, because he doesn't know what to do. So at Ezekiel's celebration, Rel gets upset because he can't find his girl. Kane is in the bathroom with the girl. Kane gets mad because Rel embarrasses him. Kane takes it upon himself to find his cousin and handle him in a stairwell like that. Then he runs outside and his mom is in the car. Mom is such a sweet mother. She wipes the blood off of her son's face. No words were exchanged. She just looked at him. So apparently this is what she wanted her son to do to her nephew. I don't know if I'm gonna like Mary J's character this whole book. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm not feeling her right now. Now, what I found to be hilarious is back at the dorm, Ezekiel's up. He went to the gym. Tariq is waking up late because he got a lot on his plate. He's like, hey, I got you. Ezekiel's like, oh, I've been up, for hours. You were up and you can go to the gym, but you couldn't do your homework. The funny part is that he tells Tariq, hey, my Aunt Monet said that she likes you. Really? That's not the type of person you want to like you. So Tariq gets a text message. It's from Lauren. She's like, hey, let's meet up for coffee. Come to find out, Professor Milgram sends Lauren down to go talk to Tariq about him messing up in that interview to get into the canonical studies, whatever class. So they meet and she's like, listen, they're going to retest you. This time just be ready. So Tariq tells this girl, nobody just pulls the trigger. It's definitely a decision that you make, and you have to be able to live with your consequences. I think he takes his own advice when he goes out there and talks to Sax, and he's like, listen, I'm going to let them know. If you don't get my mother out, I'm going to let them know that I saw you there the night that my father was murdered. And Tariq is coming. It's kind of like the walls are closing in on him, and he's just going to have to face his own demons. So he goes ahead back to the dorm, and he grabs his friend's phone. He makes an Instagram live, and in his old sneaky fashion, he's like, thanks, Davis McQueen, for taking my mom's case. He knows that man didn't take the case, but once he puts the pressure on him, because David McQueen is such a showboat, he's going to have to crack. He's going to have to help this boy. With a little bit of money that he has, he's definitely going to have to step up and help Tasha. I can't even lie, y'all. It was a genius plan. So he winds up calling out McQueen. McQueen hit him on the phone. Let's meet up. When they met up, is it me or is Tariq wearing a skirt? I don't know, no judgments, but it was just different. Anyway, so McQueen is like, listen, you got me for the week. You kind of forced my hand, so here I am. What can we do? Tariq is like, listen, can you just tell my mom that it's okay for her to say the name of the person who helped her, get rid of my father? Because I'm not afraid anymore. As soon as he said that, McLean knew that it was him. He knew it was him. So he meets with Tasha. He's like, listen, I'm going to get you the same deal that Tamika got you, but you're going to have to be honest. So let's talk. They get into the courtroom. And Tasha says, okay, I'm going to tell the truth. The person that, that was there and did it for me is Tommy Egan. I'm like, oh, hell no. You just had to bring Tommy into this. Tommy ain't got nothing to do with this. Tommy done went off to California trying to live his best life in one of his new cars. So the lady says, okay, so if he's the one, how you know he did it? Tasha says, because he did it for me. I asked him to do it. Why would you say that? Like, that's the worst thing she could have said. So now all of a sudden, Sax has no choice but to get up, because he's sitting there with the other dude, Mike Ott, or whatever his name is, Stephen Ott. So Sax gets up, and now they're charging her, and this is no longer a state case. This is a federal situation. So they're going to hit her with the RICO. Now things get interesting. So McQueen was like, Tariq, what did you get me into? Tariq was like, I got you into the biggest case of your career. Well, here we are. So he's doing the book report. He decides to look up Lorenzo Tejeda. Tejeda is in jail for murder and is gang related. And look at his picture online. Look at who's in the background. The Ice Princess herself. So this should be interesting. Tariq knows he needs $450,000 to give to McQueen for his mom. McLean for his mom. I'm guessing the only way he really can get to that type of money is he's going to have to get in bed with Monet. We shall see. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. Hit the blue bell for notifications and thumbs me up. Comment what y'all think about this first episode. Are y'all going to watch this whole thing? Is it interesting? What do y'all think? Did it tie up any loose ends? Did it leave a whole bunch of questions? Whatever the case may be, drop down in the comment section and let me know about it. We'll do this again next time.